You're doing your head thing.
God, I love that. All
Dude,
right.
I'm laughing because you're jamming out. You're like,
I am. Good morning, everyone. Lee and Rob, Profit Team Consulting. Glad to be back on Facebook Live. I know we've been a little busy in summer and all that kind of stuff, and we've been away. And I kind of said to Lee, I said, we got to get back on. We got to get back, and we got to talk to everyone and kind of update everyone on what's going on. We just both got back from the URG conference in Dallas, Texas, and got to spend some time again with some people. I think probably over 250 recyclers were there. And we thought we'd just kind of talk a little bit about what the hot topic was, Lee. I mean, what was your take? You were there, right? You're popular. You talked to a lot of people.
Well, and like I told you earlier, and really what kind of precipitated us deciding to kind of cover this a little bit, to me, it was the first convention I remember going to in a long time to where I might have actually heard something mentioned more than buying, and which is really actually surprising, being that we just went through the pandemic, the shortage of inventory and everything else. But don't get me wrong, buying is still a hot topic, and everybody always will be. I mean, procuring inventory huge, but people. I mean, staffing and how cost of people and just everything that encompasses. I can't count how many different things I heard about people and can't get them and keep them and all those things. And so it was a little stunned. I knew that. I mean, in our group meetings, I hear about it on a regular basis, but to actually see something that kind of overtook the conversations of buying at a convention was a little bit surprising of how rampant it is.
Yeah. And I think, from those meetings that we have, some of the ones we have together and stuff, it being such a large, it's taking up the most time. It's what everyone's talking about. Hence why we thought we would talk about hiring in a competitive market, right? Everyone's complaint is I can't get people, and why? And that's what we thought we would discuss a little bit. It's been a hot topic on our sales manager groups. Or why can't we retain people? Why do we have this revolving door, Lee? Right?
Well, it's going to talk about culture. Obviously, you got to look at that if you have a revolving door, or also if you implement like an employee referral program and you feel like you're paying handsomely. And I've had a conversation with two people, talking about it. One's like, mine worked really well. I ended up the last 3 hires I got from that. And the other was like, mine didn't bring anything. And I'm like, well, I'm not saying this is the end all be all for sure, but did you look in? And I, wasn't really thinking at the time, but I thought later, did they look in the mirror? Because if you do an employee referral program and nobody refers anybody, that's kind of like saying, I'm not going to do this to a friend. What do you mean? I'm not bringing somebody into this place and doing that to them. Well, that tells you a little bit about your culture, and I'm not saying that's for sure what it is. It could just not be enough money to move the needle for people nowadays. But I wondered that later on, had that person thought about there could be a correlation in no matter how much I pay referral, if people aren't happy at my place, they still probably don't want to bring somebody else to be sad. So, that was that came up in a conversation that we were talking about just at URG and stuff like that. And heard it at another place before that.
And the perception that an owner or a manager has of the culture is not the same perception that the employee has of the culture, right?
Not close. Not even
close.
Sometimes that's actually probably, Rob, you're smarter than you look. Not that you don't look like a genius.
I got my camo on today just for you.
But I mean, when you think about that, that could be an indication of my culture is pretty good if you were able to identify that your employees think the same thing of your culture as you do as a manager and owner. I'd be pretty happy with that. That means that my message is resonating with people. So, you kind of touched a little bit of an indication in some ways, but yeah, I do want to say, you kind of, when I told you my take on it, and you're like, let's do a Facebook Live and just talk about it a little bit. I do want to tell anybody that's watching or watches this later or whatever, this isn't a conversation that is about what you do tomorrow. Quite honestly, I don't think I have, or Rob, you may be smarter than me on that part and figure it out, but I don't think I necessarily have the thing that's like all of a sudden tomorrow you're going to be better at hiring people. Some of the things that, we've discussed and probably will come up in our conversation here, has more to do with where I got to go to stay competitive. Because as I've told you, I'm not a genius. I don't know the research, but I do know this. The last time I looked, a lot of the people coming into the workforce still doesn't match the amount of people that are leaving the workforce and retiring. And while I'm a little biased because I'm kind of an old guy and lifer, as you call me for, the business and yourself, I feel like the older crew that's retiring had a different view of culture and work and work ethic than the one coming in. And so I think not only do we have a problem of maybe losing some people that think more like we did and wanted them to think, we're also bringing in more people in the work environment that probably think less like we want them to think and require us to change to accommodate that. And so, I don't think it's getting better is what I'm getting at. It's a long-winded way of saying, I don't know when we're going to look up in 5 years and go, it's easy to get people again. I don't know.
And if you're using those words, people don't work like they used to. Why don't people work as hard as I used to when I was their age? Well, they don't, or they may, but you're motivating them in a different way. What made you tick, you and I, all those decades ago, right? Isn't the same thing that's making those tick. So how are you understanding? Get rid of your perception, right? Of what it is and how are we trying to do it. And, you said something, that stuck out to me, who are you trying to recruit when you're bringing people into your company? What are you going after?
Yep.
And when we look at some of the very successful facilities that are out there, and ones that have good culture and maintain and retain their employees, Lee, right? That's what we're looking at. What are you guys doing? How do you do it? And I had one customer that said to me, I'll shout out to you. God bless you, Sal. He said to me, Rob, all I want to do is hire good people. I want good people with good values. I'll work with the rest after. But, the number one thing he's looking at is who are you and are you a good person? What are your values? Yeah. Really simply, but when we get shorthanded and we get desperate, and what are we trying to do? And by trying to recruit or bring in people to just fill holes, all we're doing is pushing the problem further down the road, Lee.
Well, and if you remember, it kind of ties into, like I'm saying right now, and saying this conversation is more for where do I need to be and how do I get there? And benefits comes to mind with that. Because the reason I brought that up to you and said, and made that comment, somebody else says, who are you trying to recruit? Is because one of the things I was like, does your benefit package mirror the actual type of employee that you want? Because, and while we can't ask all these things in the interview for sure, but really what he was getting at is he wanted people that were dependable, that actually were family oriented, that, more than likely had kids and more than likely, had that type of environment. Well, what's important to those people? How is your paid time off program? Because guess what a family man wants to do? He wants to go with his family somewhere on vacation. Guess what a family man wants to do a lot of times? He wants to take off to go to his kid's first day of school. He needs time, or she, the wife, family lady, what does she do? She needs time. Family takes time. It really does. And I'll be the first to point at myself a little bit and say, when I was the younger and aggressive and had not actually learned all of that, I was probably a little insensitive to it. And so my benefit package wouldn't have mirrored that. And so that's where I went with that. Is like, you got to answer first, who are you trying to recruit? Are you trying to recruit that? Are you trying to recruit those people? And you're trying to recruit young millennials because you need, or Gen Xers or whatever, because you need some fresh blood. Well, then what's important to them? And is my benefit package mirror what's important to them? And is there a possibility to make my benefits package attractive for all of them? Because that's what we're going to have. And that's why I say that about the future is right now, more than likely, most people have packages and a culture that is more attractive to one prospect side than the other, so to speak. And the people successful on bringing people onboarding down the road are going to be the ones that can bring anybody in, and their benefits fit for everybody. Their flexibility fits for everybody. and they've made that where a culture can be great with all the different personalities and people.
Right. I had a conversation with a customer, and it's a father-son, right? And the son wanted to, instead of giving a bonus to everyone, wanted to give some kind of PTO time, right? 1, 2, 3, another week to everybody.
Yeah.
And the dad said, no, 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 no. They want the money. They want the money. They want the money. Well, after the son and they argued and argued and argued and argued, and they did a little research, they gave the PTO, and it was a hit. Now, so again, what is the culture? Maybe that wasn't for all. Maybe some wanted the money. Do you pay back the vacation time, or are you a use it or lose it company?
I mean, that's
all those things really matter, what you're doing and what's important to the employees you have. You talked about, how do I build it around certain type of people? Well, let's take some of your office staff. Again, male or female, if they're stay at home and have younger children, do you allow them to have a flexible schedule to come in after they put the kids to school, have the ability to get home before the kids get off the bus, male or female, don't care, because it doesn't matter right now. But the point being is, are you flexible in your office staff? Are there other positions that you could be flexible around someone's, time schedule for children? Do you encourage? We will pay you to go to all of your child's, what was it when they go and you have the thing with the teacher, the reviews, you go and have the parent teacher conference, right? We encourage our staff to go to those things, depending on travel time and all those things. But there's, is family important to you? Why can't there be some benefits for the family guy, right? Is it just the time? What is it? So what Lee was saying is, build some of what you do around the people's needs that you have, because the goal here is what? Retaining your employees to make sure the culture's right and they want to stay here. And when you build that, Lee, what happens? Then they are out telling their friends to come work there, right? You're branding yourself in your community that you are a good place to work at, and you're not a number. They care about you.
Nope. And there's a lot of things, and this is just a short video, but we've already discussed that there's a lot of things that people can be doing. And here's the point of what I would like to make, is that nobody is going to have any of this probably in place right now. More than likely, maybe a few people are that are really progressive and like, look, I already have flexible schedules for my dismantlers. I have flexible this. I've got a good paid time off program to bring people in that's important too. Maybe you have, but what I am getting is, if you want to stay competitive and get good people in the future, you're going to have to get there. And so really, that's what I came out of URG. And that's what I told you. I said, if we really want to help people, because that's right, I want to help people. That's why I'm doing what I do. And I felt like coming out of there, what I need to do is help people realize that if you're at point A, in other words, your benefit package is as low as it can be right now, I need to be honest with you and say, you're going to have trouble recruiting the type of people that you probably want. But can you get to point B and C and D and figure out if you can do that within like 3 years or 4 years? Because if this problem isn't getting better, then at some point or another, I've got to realize that I've got competitors offering all kinds of insurance packages, all kinds of paid time off packages, instant paid time, all these things that can be thrown at my employees, along with people that I'm trying to get from other places. If I'm not available to do that right now, what I need to determine is, which are the ones that are most important for me for the type of employee that I want? And then can I get those benefits to where I can start in 2 years or 3 years, start advertising, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, so that when they see my ad, it is competitive with all the others that they see. And then another thing is do I tailor my interviewing process to the people that I want? And am I starting to use Zoom more in the interview process? That was another thing that I came out of saying, we're talking about hiring here, but really it all encompasses, how do I hire somebody if I can't sell them on working for my business because of what my business offers in comparison to others? And so this is about hiring. This is about making yourself the most attractive. Well, another thing that we deal with is a stigma in this industry. And so maybe the initial interview should start being on Zoom in most cases. And then that gives you the opportunity to not have somebody drive out to your place, go through the trouble because we got so many no-shows in interviews is where I'm going with this. And instead, it's 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes on an interview on Zoom. You can meet with them, figure out if it's somebody that you want, and then you can go into sell mode to sell your business to bring them in for the second interview. A few people that are doing this have a much better success rate on the first interview showing up. And then they have an extremely much better on the second interview, because that's the one where they're selling people on coming to the business to actually hire. And so I think that's another thing, is the interview process starting to mirror what my competitors are going to do and what I'm looking for. So, I mean, I think that all of that's encompassing in this.
Absolutely. And then what are you talking about? You're talking about trying to sell your company and sell the job and sell those things. But what are you talking about, right? You're talking about benefit packages. You're talking about safety. You're talking about what we do for our employees. All these things that you're trying to do. And again, it's branding. Mental health, right? What is the mental health, situation and what there? How stressful are we working 60 hours a week? Or we understand what are we doing? The mental health of your people right now is more important than ever. We are in the strangest last year and a half. Who knows what the future is gonna happen in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 months. We don't know. But the mental health of your people right now is such at a high level, and making sure you're aware and you're talking to your people. If someone's down or you're noticing a difference and all those things, mental health, if your head's not right, nothing else is going to be right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean. Well, I was saying that, and that really ties back to the culture of people. When people know you care, they care, and that's all we're looking at is a culture of caring on both sides. What do I want? I want people to care when they take this package and they realize that it's important to a customer, and I want them to take care of it. But you know what they got to do to start caring? They got to know that I care. They got to know that my manager cares, that my place cares, and so what I'm getting at, and what you're the one that sparked this whole deal is. If I'm a business, I'm going to assess right now where my weaknesses are in my benefits package, in my interview process, in my onboarding process, so that maybe I can become a better competitor just because I could take somebody that somebody else can't because my onboarding is so good and make them successful at my place where you couldn't, or those type things. And so I want people to take a look at it now and go, yeah, I'm not perfect right now. But imagine a day when you could sit there and go to a person and look them in the eyes and say, I want you. And feel like more times than not, you're going to get them. And you know why? Because you can look at them and go, I want you. And here's my wonderful insurance package. Here's my wonderful 401k package. Here is what you get when you come here on time off to take time with your family or whatever you need to do to recoup. Here is how that works. Here is what we do to make sure you're safe. Oh, you're a remote salesperson. It doesn't matter. Safety is important to us. And you need to know what we take seriously in the back so that you understand you're a part of that culture. I don't care where you work. Safety is important for us, even for the people at back. And sometimes you need to be mindful of that when you're discussing that with people. And so you bring that up and then you let them know. And we're all about the environment. And then I'm looking at somebody and that's a sales job. I can't sell them on a bunch of BS and say, yeah, my insurance package isn't as good, but I'm fun to work for. That I may be fun to work for, but that's not going to work. So what I'm saying is take a look at it and say, where are my weaknesses compared to my competitors? I got to go and I got to get there. When can I get there? 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? Whatever it is, you got to start now, because I don't think this is going to get easier. And so I would love a day where you could just look at somebody and say, I'm going to get you. You know why? Because my insurance is better. You know why? Because my time off is better. You know another reason why? Because I take your safety in concern. By the way, I've got Chaplains of America that I use for counseling if you need it. If you're ever suicidal, anybody you know in your family needs issues, your child is going through a difficult time, I have that set up to where you can actually call and get therapy a little bit. And that's on the company, by the way, because we love you and your family. Imagine that. You tell me I couldn't hack an interview and take somebody and convince them that I'm a great place to work for, regardless of what their stereotyping was before that conversation. That's what I want for everybody in our industry, because our industry is capable of paying really good money and doing good benefits better than other industries long term if we just plan for it. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
what I want.
And, as normal, Lee and I try to make these 10 minutes and we're going on 20 because we happen to both be a little bit talkative. But thanks, everybody. I got a thumbs up. Matt, Gary, thanks for the thumbs up. Jeff just came in. Thank you, guys, for watching. Anyone that's going to watch this later, remember, Profit Team Consulting, Mike Kunkel, Lee Werman, Rob Rainwater. We're here to help you with any needs you have, what we can do. Please reach out. Sales training, sales management, Profit Team groups. Follow us, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. But we want to get on, and we're going to do this more, Lee. You and I, Mike, Michael, all this stuff. We're going to get on here again once a week and just try to give a little update of what we're thinking about, what the industry's thinking about. But thank everybody so much for taking a little bit of your time to watch our video. Hold on, Lee. I got to do it again. I want to go out.
Oh, you're gonna do the music. You're gonna do the head bob too.
I got to do it again.
Meet with the head bob.
All right, everybody. Thank you. It's great stuff, Lee.